These are the emails you should be sending out in January to set yourself up for a great quarter one. Now, if you've been watching the rest of my videos, you know that I personally devote December and January to old lead follow-up, closed lost follow-up, and ghosted prospects follow-up. These are ripe for mining, and so many salespeople forget to go back and do this. If you work at a larger organization, I am positive you have a long pile of these in the database that your manager can pull for you. Most salespeople don't follow up with their inbound leads. I know that's crazy. Blame it on anything you want, anything from laziness to forgetting to lack of training or whatever. But in most industries, even with inbound leads, you still have to attempt to reach them 3 to 5 times at least, maybe even as many as 8, before you actually get a hold of them, even if they're an inbound lead, because of spam filters and just bad timing on your phone calls or whatever it is. And even the people that do attempt to follow up with their inbound leads will often stop after 1, 2, or 3 tries, and then they'll move on to other things. So, where I focus on in December and January is close lost prospects, old projects that we haven't upsold in a while, and anybody that I met at a conference or something of that where it would be a relatively warm reminder that I exist. And so what you want to do is put things in perspective for your client as to the value of a conversation with you. For example, I'm in tech sales, I do consulting and services, as well as some SaaS and hardware stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and post a couple of different variations on my favorite emails for you guys right here. And as you can see, I usually start with something a little cheeky, a little bit funny. Hey, I hope you survived the holidays. I hope you didn't forget me over the holidays. Or something like that, just to sort of get their attention, instead of just saying, hi, Clarence, how are you? Skip all that kind of fluff, right? Try to find some way to say hello in your own words, in your own personality, without coming off as some kind of boilerplate robot introduction that ChatGPT probably wrote, all right? From there, you want to make sure you get the relevance of the conversation. So I hope that you didn't have problems with your slow servers over the holidays that resulted in you having to leave your family. Remind them of what their problem is, what you're trying to solve for them, and what the potential effects are. Even if it hadn't affected them, it'll still get their attention and be like, oh yeah, because I have a trip coming up actually. Again, I have PTO coming up in February, so if I don't solve this problem before February, I might get pulled away from my vacation, and that would really suck. Always try to make it relatable to what you're doing. Remember, every communication you have is a chance to add value to your customer. And a lot of the times, adding value to the customer is explaining the value of the project they're trying to do. And remember, they want to do these projects. That's why they're talking to you about them. You just have to remind them why it's a priority and help them reframe it so they can say, oh, this is why it's a priority, and this is the kind of priority I can sell upstream to my boss, right? So again, look at these email templates and look at the way I try to create value in them very subtly, just by making the solution that we eventually get to quantified in a very personal way. Now, for some of you, potentially for a prospect who you're relatively far along in the prospect list, the second email format is for you. So, for example, it could be, hey, Margaret, in December, we spoke about making sure that your servers are more scalable because you're about to take on more customers and you're afraid that your architecture isn't up to snuff. If you don't solve it, you're going to lose revenue because you're not going to be able to onboard those customers, which means they're not going to be paying you. So let's make sure we get John and Greg on a phone next week like you told me you wanted to do. Which day is better for you? Different tones, different ways to do the same thing depending on where you are in your process and how much information you've been able to obtain from your customer. Always remember, keep it personal, but don't go crazy. You don't have to spend 45, 50 minutes writing an email, right? It shouldn't take you more than, maybe 5 or 10 minutes to review your notes and write a good email, tops. And once you get used to it, it's like 3 minutes, okay? Because you don't want to put essays in these things. Nobody wants to read an essay. Keep it short to the sweet. Remind them of the value, remind them what they want to accomplish, and remind them, if possible, of the consequences of failing to reach those goals. That's what you should be doing in January. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you're doing it and how it's working out for you. Let's get it.